Good morning Kasturians and welcome to video 2 of chapter Paths to Modernization. In this, today we will discuss the political system in Japan. So let's start. When we see the political system, it was emperor who used to rule Japan from Kyoto. But from 12th century onwards, the emperor rule was gone, and in theory or in papers, the shoguns who were a tribal of Japan, they started ruling in the name of emperor, and the members of the Tokugawa family, they held the position of shogun from 1603 to 1867. When we see the division in country, so the country is divided into 250 domains under the rule of lords called daimyo, and the shogun, they exercise their power over the domanial lords, and they ordered the domanial lords to stay at the capital Edo, which is now known as Tokyo. And for a longer time, these heads, that is the daimyos, they were called to stay in the capital so that these daimyos cannot create a problem for the rule, or these daimyos, they cannot pose a threat to the ordering shoguns. The shogun also controlled the major cities and mines, and the samurai, who was like in our India we have kshatriyas, the warrior class. In the same manner in Japan it was the samurai who was the warrior class. They were the ruling elite and they served the shoguns and daimyo. In the late 16th century, the pattern of future developments was laid by three changes. First, the peasantry was disarmed and only the samurai were allowed to carry the swords. This was done to ensure peace and order and to end the frequent wars of the previous century. Secondly, the daimyos, they were ordered to live in the capitals of their domains with a larger degree of autonomy. And third, the land surveys, they identified owners and taxpayers, and the gradual graded land productivity to ensure a stable revenue base. With the passing of these three orders, the daimyos' capitals, they became bigger, and by the arrival of the mid 17th century, Japan became one of the most populated cities in the world, that is Edo, or the present day Tokyo, but also two other large cities like Osaka and Kyoto, with at least half a dozen castle towns having populations of more than over 50,000 people. Most European countries of the time, they had only one large city, and at the same time Japan was having two new large and most thickly populated cities, and this led to the growth of a commercial economy, and Japan succeeded in creating a financial and credit system for itself, and the merit of the persons, it began to be valued more than the status, and a culture which was vibrant in nature, it also blossomed in the towns, where the merchant class, which was the fast growing class, it patronized theater and the arts. And as the people, they started reading, it became possible to for gifted writers to earn a living solely by writing. And in Tokyo or Edo, people could rent a book for the price of a bowl of noodles. This means that the popular reading, it had become how popular the reading was, and it also gives a glimpse into the scale of printing. At one time, Japan was rich, but the import of luxury goods like silk from China and textiles from India, and the payment of these imports in terms of gold and silver, it put the economy at backward pace, and ultimately the Tokugawa ordered restrictions on the export of precious metals. Also, steps to develop the silk industry in Nishijin in Kyoto were also taken so that the reliability on imports can be reduced. This worked, and the silk from Nishijin came to be known as the best in the world, and the developments like increased use of money instead of coins and the creation of a stock market in rice, it shows that the economy was developing in new ways. Also, the social and intellectual changes were taking place, like the degree of Chinese influence, ki how much influence of the Chinese culture we should have, and how and arguments like the essence of being Japanese, how it can be found long before the contact with China. These questions were continuously being asked by the people, and that's why the social and intellectual changes they took place. Also, in such early clashes or classics as the tale of the Genji and in the myths of the origin, according to which the islands they were created by the gods and the emperor was a descendant of the son of goddess. So that's all we have in this video. In the next video we will discuss the Meiji restoration and China. Thank you and have a nice day.